It's a rock and roll nightmare.
I can't wait to talk about the soundtrack for this movie.
Ooh. Had some good ones on it.
Sure. But two of the bands that are on here was the first concert I ever went to, so we're going to talk about that.
Megadeth?
No. Alice Cooper being opened up, and the opening band was Dangerous Toys.
Ooh.
I don't remember them at all.
Dangerous Toys.
I think I was pretty busy looking at, like, girls in leather bralettes, and I was like 14, you know what I mean? I'm like,
whoa,
girls
tits!
Dressed like that?
There's
real
tits
life?
there. Nice.
These girls dress like people on TV. Are these people from movies?
Oh, okay. Let's give that 10 seconds for
Harambe.
Yes. A little bit longer than 10 seconds.
Police are sure only of the following. He is male and savagely powerful. In almost all cases, he has battered his way to his victims through locked doors, and he is so intelligent, he has managed not only to elude police for these 9 months, but escape identification of any kind. And now it has happened again. In the early hours of this morning, the killer struck once more, again killing an entire family, again escaping without being seen. And this city's descent into frustration and terror deepens.
We are here today to bear witness to the execution of Horace Pinker, whose unspeakable atrocities have horrified the people of this great state. Prisoner, have any final words?
Yeah. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Attack warning red.
Attack warning? Is it for real? Attack warning is for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, put it down. 1, 2, 3.
Wes Craven brings you his greatest creation. Shocker.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dropped Culture Podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And this is that show where we take that piece of drop culture, that pop culture, rather, that you forgot about, you missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. And boy, do we have a spooky delight for you tonight. What are we talking about tonight, Brock?
Shocker.
Do you mean Wes Craven's Shocker?
That's right.
Wes Craven of People Under the Stairs fame?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is a better movie.
Yeah. It's kind of a better one. But you know what?
Really, well, of course, of Nightmare on Elm Street fame and Scream.
Yeah. Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Not Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah, there you go. That was when he came back.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I vowed to get out of this New Line Cinema shit. Mm-hmm. You know, it's no longer just Michael Myers shit for Dimension. You know, I'm here now. Yeah, Wes Craven he's a legend.
Of course.
Really.
Of course.
He seems like
horror
such a
legend.
Yeah, he seems like such a down to earth dude, but yet he has some crazy freaking ideas. This wasn't too crazy.
So this was basically the film company saying, "Hey, we want you to make a new Nightmare on Elm Street."
Pretty much.
And that was pretty much what was pitched to him.
Yep. He's like, oh, I can do that.
And there are some Wes Craven tropes in here.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like the opening scene.
For sure.
Yeah.
Some waterbed action.
Yes. Always with the waterbed
He's all
action.
about the waterbed.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. But, you know, hey.
So Shocker. So tell me the first time that you saw Shocker, Brock.
Oh, right after it came out.
Same.
Yep. Right after it came out. I was on the video shows. So it was like, whoa, look at that dude. He's like getting electrocuted.
I remember waiting for it to come out.
Really?
Yeah. And so I could rent it like that day.
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Now, I remember it coming out, remember reading it, and being like, damn, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's not a great film, but it's cool.
Yeah, great and this film don't go together at all. But
Peter Berg, sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's not your fault. Wes Craven, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not a terrible film.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And it's a film of two halves, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. It was released October 27th, 1989.
Yeah, it's almost 22 years ago to the day.
More than that, 32.
32 years ago to the day. That's what I said, Brock.
Math, not a friend of the show.
No.
Not a sponsor of the show.
For sure not.
Yeah, October 27th. I mean, of course. Most of the movies that have come out in October have kind of lived for a long time. And this is one that kind of still lives. It really does, kind of in the lexicon of horror movies.
Oh, sure.
For what it is, how it was made, who made it, the soundtrack for one. I mean, there's just so many parts of this that kind of puts it in the lexicon to where you don't forget it.
Absolutely.
And you're not going to forget it.
And we'll dig in on that soundtrack here in a minute. But, this is a universal picture. But we've talked about some films under this banner before, live films.
Yep. This basically, I think, filled the vacated projects that John Carpenter was going to do.
Right.
So this would have been, I don't think it would have been his second one, but he had 3 more left in his contract before he left after They Live.
Okay.
And he was like, fuck live films, man. I'm out. I'm John Carpenter, bitch.
I do what I want. So this movie, what should we get into first? I mean, there's so much to dig into here. Do you want to dig into some of the actors? What do you want to talk about? The budget?
Well,
what makes you happy, sir?
Yeah, we'll just start with the budget.
Okay.
The budget was, I don't know.
I believe it was, I had it up just a moment ago. I know it made about 16. And it did make some money.
Yeah.
But
it probably wasn't like too big, but
No, it wasn't a huge budget. And I'm sad that I didn't have that up still. I apologize. Children's at homes listening to guys talk about movies on the internet.
No, I mean, but $60 million for 32 years ago. I mean, the only other movie that was doing this good was like Batman. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if we're gonna put this in the Batman.
Well, Batman came out this year. Batman '89.
Well, of course it did.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say shocker. Like,
really
getting close to that. Come on.
Do you really think so?
I really do.
Shocker.
It's a shocker that this movie is in with Batman 89.
Whoa.
It blows my mind. I want to say it was like $5 or $6 million.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I like
I
some
don't know
of
why I can't find that now. Sorry about that.
Well, some of the effects are dated, but some of them are really cool.
Some of them are really cool. And this is another movie where we didn't get what the director wanted. It was like 13 submissions that they gave to the ratings.
Yeah, it
to
was
get
an
it to
X-rated.
move from X-rated to R. 13 times they had to resubmit it.
I mean, come on. They were just trying to bury it.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
And I'm sure it was a little over the top, you know what I mean? But X to R, I mean, and of course, by today's standards, it would have been just fine, I'm sure.
And that's the thing, though. Like, all these X-rated movies were always getting threatened with being X-rated. Like, just Dawn of the Dead, for instance.
Right.
You're going to get an X rating, if you do this, and that's going to bury your movie. And then they're like, screw it, we're going unrated.
Right.
You know what I mean? Got to be 18 to go see it.
Yep.
They're like, screw you, we're not going to even print your name in there. Come on, There's still a lot of that stuff, but now, 32 years ago, it's hard to believe that something like this, which is tame by television standards today,
Right, exactly.
was so suppressed.
Well, I think there was I remember reading something that like one of the parts that they had to cut out was like where he actually spit the fingers out of the guy that he's bit his fingers off.
Finger looking good.
Yeah. Very that. It's a little hammy in there, but it's basically playing off that same kind of comedy that you had with some of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, this was written by Wes Craven too.
Well, no,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
So you had, like you said, you had a lot of tropes. You had a lot of kind of a. There was this thing was kind of all over the place.
Yes.
You know, you have the conventional serial killer, then you have the supernatural serial killer.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because the first half of this movie, you're like, it's pretty interesting.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, like, then things get a little crazy down the road. And I don't dislike the method by which he gets around. It's very Freddy Krueger, like just being able to show up in your, not necessarily in your dream, but
Yeah.
just
whenever you want to.
Yeah, whenever you want.
You're part of some weird world and nobody had used television before.
Right.
Except for Willy Wonka, whenever they move people from TV to TV.
Yeah.
They're transmitting chocolate and shit.
Yeah.
Tastes just like real chocolate.
And the TV cowboy kid.
No, I love TV. Maybe that's who Horace Pinker is.
Reincarnated.
It was his grandfather. So like you said, this really had this same feeling as a Nightmare on Elm Street, and I could see how they really wanted to expand upon it and maybe have a couple of sequels.
Yeah, that was their plan, was for this to be the new franchise for, I guess, Universal.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much like the heads were like, yeah, make us basically a new Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
And Shocker was good. Like I said, and we'll get in it when we get into the plot. The first half of this movie, I was like, this is really interesting, and then there's some parts where you're like, okay, that just happened. But we'll get there.
Well, the one thing that I noticed about this whole movie that and I've always noticed this, and I want to mention it, is every time Peter Berg runs, he turns on the jets. You ever see that move that he does? Like right as soon as he takes off, it's like he's putting on the jet right there. It's like head down, and he's like, dun, 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 and he's like running faster than everybody, but everybody still catches up with him.
Well, we'll get there too, because that's another where I'm like, okay, athlete.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, he's got that. I'm turning on the jet. I'm moving fast.
He looks like it.
Yeah, and it's like his head's bobbing and shit. Like he's really trucking it, and you're like, oh, what? The dude with the limp caught you? Uh-huh. But it's just like he's got those jet times. I'm gonna run down this alley, putting on the jets. Boom. It's that little move where he's like, stutter, run.
Juke him.
Yeah, pretty much, right? No. College football star.
He's a college football star.
And there's so many confusing parts of this movie, too.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's get into the cast real quick.
Okay.
So you've already mentioned our lead,
Peter Berg.
What else has Peter Berg done?
He's done a lot of directing.
He has
a lot of directing. He has turned kind of like in, how we were talking about some of the people in My Science Project.
Yeah.
How they became directors. This dude kind of did the same thing. And that's why I kind of put these together in my head for some reason, because of the main actors have gone on to directing in some way.
Sure.
Kind of weird.
I could see that. Yeah. He actually won an Emmy for that Friday Night Lights show that he did. It was a football show, which is weird. Maybe, I don't know if he had a football career at some point in his life, like maybe in high school, because I don't know how old he was when he did this.
Right. Yeah. Well, he wasn't that old.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't that old enough to have a professional career by any means, but he could have been, he could have played high school ball or something.
What?
Because he was in 21 Jump Street. So.
What Peter Berg to me is he sells everything way too much whenever he's acting. I mean, he sold some stuff in that thing.
He did. I didn't think he was terrible, though.
No, not at all. Actor. Lone Survivor was one of his,
okay,
which he directed. A lot of military stuff.
I just remember he did the movie The Rundown with The Rock and Sean William Scott.
Oh.
You remember that movie?
Yes. That was a decent movie. The action was decent.
I thought it was fine. I don't think it was very loved by anybody else. You know what I mean? Like critics didn't like it. I don't think it did well in the theater, but it was an okay movie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has a really. Oh, he directed Hell or High Water, which is pretty cool.
He wrote The Losers from the comic book, DC comic book.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Did not know that one.
Yeah.
Right there.
And now it's time to go because he also directed the science fiction action film Battleship.
Never watched it. Never going to watch it.
I watched part of it because I was in a damn hotel.
Because did somebody say in the movie, "It's not my battleship"?
Not that I remember, but I think I said that when I changed the channel finally. What am I watching? Why is this on? Somebody hurt me.
Yeah, that hurts.
There I am.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw him do anything was that Lone Survivor.
Okay.
Which he's done 100 different things after that. But
sure.
I remember watching the behind the scenes of that one. Somehow. You know, wasn't that Wahlberg falling down a mountain?
Oh, I'm sure. I don't
getting hunted by the Taliban.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Think
sure.
so.
Yeah. He also did Deepwater Horizon. Wasn't that Wahlberg as well? With the oil rig.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Like some Wahlberg.
Yep.
You know.
They're friends. Him and The Rock and Wahlberg.
They just sit around and eat Wahlburgers all the
time. They're just like regular burgers, but they have wall in them. Then you have who's Horace Pinker?
Oh, that is Pileggi.
Mitch Pileggi.
Yes.
Or Pileggi.
He was in X-Files. He was Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was his big deal. And that started around the same time as this did.
Yeah.
Really close to it.
Pretty close.
Yeah. 94. 5 years. He had a lot of Walker credits. The new Walker.
Oh.
Yeah. But he was a dirty son of a bitch in this movie.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's
really
just a bastard.
Yeah,
which he played well. I thought he did fine.
Hell yeah.
And then of course we have the foster father, our police officer, if you will.
Which you see him in a lot of stuff.
You know, he was the dad from X-Men Last Stand of Angel. Warren Worthington?
Yep.
The dickhead?
Yep.
Yeah.
He always plays that kind of a guy.
He was the mayor in Batman Returns.
Dang, that's right, huh?
This dude has like a laundry list of shows he's been in, but
right.
He's always that ancillary character that for most of the stuff that I remember him from anyways.
Yeah, you know him, but you're like, okay.
It's that guy again.
Hey, he was on the day Reagan got shot. So, pretty cool.
Michael Murphy sounds like a comic book character.
Right.
Are you secretly a superhero?
And then, of course, John Tesh.
Yes.
Even Heather Langenkamp, like, I'd look for her. She's a victim.
Yeah. Did you notice her?
No, I really didn't.
Good. I'm glad because I was the same way. I'm like, oh, well,
yeah.
I didn't remember her being in this, and then I watched it. I'm like, I don't remember her being in this, and I just watched it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, who was she? Was she the one in the stairs? I don't know. Then Wes Craven's son and daughter were in it.
His son was the jogger that came up to him.
They got shot in the back.
Right. And then the daughter she worked at a counter or something somewhere, I think. But
at the very beginning. Okay.
The best person in this movie was Dr. Timothy Leary.
Yes.
Who was a televangelist.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know who Dr. Timothy Leary is, you should probably, I don't know, do some acid or something.
Yeah. He invented Fruit Loops. It's cool. Yeah. Then you have Camille Cooper, which she really didn't do a lot. She has a very captivating look. Her eyes do, kind of like one of the other women in this too. It's weird that the eye thing. You know, the mom that was looking for her daughter. Her eyes were like, it was like crazy looking. She really didn't do a lot of stuff.
No.
She was in Lawnmower Man too. I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm
And that's
so
where her
sorry.
career went.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Wasn't good.
Then you got Richard Brooks. And I think Richard Brooks actually did a very good job in this as Rhino. Rhino. Rhino, you're my buddy. And he's been on quite a few different things. I mean, he's working up until now. But the most memorable thing I know that he was in was The Crow 2, City of Angels, where he was the bad guy. He's got that voice. His voice is really cool. He was on The Flash TV show. So he's been on some different things, but of course, God, that's dumb for me to say that. But he's been on some things. No shit, Sherlock.
Well, and then we had Pac-Man. Ted Raimi.
There
you go.
Ted Raimi, I mean, starring in all of his brother's movies, but then also he does have that, the kind of the little parts in different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which are pretty cool, and you're always like, oh man, it's freaking Ted Raimi. And then Coach Cooper, that dude, like another badass too, right?
Yeah. He was a fullback in football, right? Isn't that the guy?
I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he played for the Chargers.
Ooh. He was in The Karate Kid.
What?
Over the Top. He was.
Oh, yeah.
That was him and Over the Top, man.
That's right.
The Alka-Seltzer dude.
Yeah.
Eraser. Man.
Movies where they needed big guys.
Right. Anytime you need like a big old dude who looks like a whoop your ass, you get him. He was on Monk too. Oh, that's weird. Yeah. So I mean, his part was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you also had who else? Really?
I think that's really it.
Pretty much.
I know that the guitarist for Alice Cooper was the construction worker guy.
The dude looks like he could like eat a bullet.
He does. He 100% does. How do you like this body?
It's like he was chewing on grenades before he went in there.
Right.
He was like a big ass dude. Like, oh, of course he's a freaking God. He's a construction worker? No shit. And of course they have a lot. They have No More Mr. Nice Guy done by somebody else,
Dangerous
right?
Toys, I believe.
Right. And then they also had Alice Cooper.
Right.
On stage doing something.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I guess
it was Megadeth that did No More Mr. Nice Guy.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought, right?
It was Dangerous Toys did Demon Bell, the Ballad of Horace Pinker.
Oh.
That's so here's a little Iggy Pop was on the soundtrack as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Love Transfusion.
I'm gonna have to.
And the Dudes of Wrath, which was like a super group of people that you didn't want to be in a super group with. Maybe I'm crazy, but it was like White Snake's bassist.
Oh, sweet.
Tommy Lee on the drums.
Dang.
Backing vocals by Michael Anthony of Van Halen, who was their bassist.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Some like crazy ass group. I don't remember who all else was in that.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Paul Stanley. Oh, Kiss.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Guy Man Dude on guitars. I love that his name is Man Dude.
It's Guy Man Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a mythical name.
Now you're my own.
Man.
So oddly enough, this came out. I believe this was the same year that I went to my first concert.
Oh, hey.
Which was Alice Cooper Trash. And, or right around there. And the opening band for Alice Cooper was Dangerous Toys.
Ooh.
And, yeah, so that's kind of a weird,
a
weird tie for this movie and me. I mean, it was all around the same time, you know what I mean?
89,
like I was
90,
into it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's crazy, though. That is crazy. It's
And
pretty cool.
Full on women wearing leather bras, and I thought, wow, I'm 14.
Leather.
15.
Hell bent for leather. I
was like, this is like people on movies. I'm going to go to the bathroom now.
gotta go find a stall because I don't want to pee around all these people.
Actually, I went in that bathroom and there was like a little entourage, and Alice Cooper was in there using that restroom.
Really?
Weird.
Wow.
Like the public restroom.
Why not?
I
He ain't better than us.
I just assumed there was a restroom at the Fox Theater in St. Louis that he could have gone to that wasn't out in the public.
Well, maybe he just, liked to be free.
Makes sense.
He's all, shooters broke back in my dressing room. I got to pee out here. Damn it. Alice Cooper seems like a cool dude, though.
Yeah,
I mean, for real. Yeah. I mean, he's been around for a long time.
I was like in probably early high school. I like went through a huge catalog of his music, just his early stuff.
Yeah.
Like my friend's dad got us into him,
Cooper.
Kind of
The Cooper woman. Mm-hmm. Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah, no, I really...
Vince Fernier.
That's
his real name.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Son of a preacher man, right?
I believe so. Yes.
But, no, it was a cool soundtrack. I mean, honestly, yeah. With anything with Rudy Sarzo on it, I don't know,
Well, the cinematographer, Jacques, I don't forget his last name. I had notes at one time.
Jacques Haitkin. Yeah.
He was actually the cinematographer from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2.
That's right.
So it makes kind of sense that,
Yeah.
like he's bringing back all the people.
Damn, he goes all the way back to 72. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So he pretty much one of those guys that created the look for the 80s slashers,
right?
Besides John Carpenter and that Cunningham dude from Friday the 13th. Oh man, he was
Randall Cunningham.
No.
I'm
what's
joking.
Yeah, Randall Cunningham. He's like deep right. Yeah, he did a lot of stuff, man. Buried Alive, Fast Getaway, Mom and Dad Save the World.
That movie's not good.
Yeah. 12
seen
Days
that
of
movie?
Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Rocket's Red Glare. That is a apocalypse movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike his other movie, Red Rocket,
Which is about a dog.
And his love.
Yeah. A German Shepherd and his love for a poodle. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very cool.
Kind of have that kind of connection on that part of it. And then, yeah, of course, it's Alive Films. The music by William Goldstein, which the music is very, unsettling.
Yeah.
I know it was meant to be, but it just didn't. It fits this movie.
It does.
I can't hear it on anything else,
No.
It's just like glass crescendoing on a piano, You're like, whoa. Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa. It was a Carol Co. picture too. That was for the international stuff. So basically Horace Pinker is a universal monster then.
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we could have a Frankenstein versus Shocker.
Ooh, and Frankenstein was in this movie.
He was. You're right.
That's right. That's right.
And Frankenstein was brought to life by electricity.
Oh. I think we figured something out.
I think we did. I
Wes
don't know what it
Craven?
is.
Wes Craven, I would like an autographed copy of this now.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Send two.
Okay, so I guess we can get into the movie.
Absolutely. I think that's where we're at.
Right. So this first part is 100% remnant of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
100%. I think it is basically kind of Wes Craven's own homage to his own movie. It's like, I know how to open a movie. This will be really good. This will catch people. Obviously, Horace Pinker's really good at fixing televisions.
And killing people and getting away with it.
Yeah, and soldering things,
Yeah.
I mean, it's him, fixing a TV so he can watch the news.
Right.
But yet he's got 300 other TVs.
Right.
Where's that feed coming from that has nothing but skulls and, the airplanes exploding and,
It's probably on a
nuclear
videotape
bombs.
that he just has on loop.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and He's smart enough to rig it all to where
Right.
it's just like through every single TV with no lag or anything like that.
Well, I mean, does he run a TV repair place?
Yeah, I know. Like right by the train tracks.
Place where you definitely want to go find your TV repair guy.
Yeah, right. You're like, hey, I need my TV. Whoa. Smells like a dead cat in here. It's gross. Later, dudes. So it starts off, it's that news report, right? And it's John Tesh.
Yes.
And there's a serial killer haunting the whole town of whatever. It's suburb of L.A.?
Yeah. I don't know.
I thought it was like Maryville or something like that is what they had.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was on something.
Well, they mentioned it a couple times in the broadcast.
Yeah.
And then they mention it because they're talking about Peter Berg's character is going to play for the college team, even though things have happened.
Yeah, he's going to play the game. He's going to soldier on no matter what happened.
Right.
You know.
So whatever that school was, what I don't remember now. That's weird.
Yeah, and it's like a
that.
small junior college.
Yeah.
The Maryville.
But he's the hometown star, football star.
Yeah. It was just like a state college.
Yeah. No, I don't even think it was a state college.
No,
It was like it's like the Western Illinois University.
Gotcha,
you know what I
gotcha,
mean? Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
He was hot shit there, but
Yeah.
you put him in
U of I.
Yeah. No, he's going to get trounced. Yeah, he's just not that good. Rhino, maybe.
Right. Well, his name's Rhino.
Rhino. Rhino, dude. The main person that's in charge of the manhunt for the serial killer, because he's going around killing entire families with a knife. I mean, the dude's like deadly. Like, it's pretty crazy. To slaughter a whole family, from kids all the way up.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal, and he's one hell of a son of a bitch, right?
Yeah.
So Lieutenant Don Parker, right?
Right, which is Michael Murphy.
Right, which is very well close to, maybe possibly getting him, but they don't know anything.
Right.
It's 1989. Come on. Follow some tracks. Something. It's like...
There was science in 1989.
Yeah,
But they even mentioned that he's left behind nothing that will identify him.
But he has no hair. He's not leaving drag marks with this limb.
No fingerprints in the blood.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, he's pretty good, I guess.
But I don't really remember him ever wearing gloves.
Nope, not at all.
So,
not at all.
Just efficient, I guess.
Well, he had no hair, so there was no fibers.
Fingerprints.
Yeah. That would have been the thing. I guess he's just busting through the door and then killing.
Yeah, that's what they made it sound like. He just
later
ran his way through the door.
Right. So then he actually... After this, don't we get into Jonathan Parker
in his football practice?
Yeah, he's like, I'm really good, and then he freaking
he's like pulls off some cool little maneuver while this girl's watching him play football, and then he looks at her and says, "I'm pretty good," and then gets clobbered by Rhino.
Yes, but this is the confusing part too, because he gets up, the coach is like, "Come on, man, get your head in the game. We got a game on Saturday." Come on, let's do this. Rhino, you're badass. And he like jukes Rhino, right? He's like, shoes untied. Oh. Gotcha. Turn on the jets. Boom. And he's gone. Then he runs to the goalpost.
Well, and then he's like, turns back and talks to him.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a will, there's a...
Yes, full speed.
Oh,
ugh.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Go,
right?
athlete.
He was really that good? I don't know.
That's why he's at the junior college.
Everybody else must have really sucked.
Yeah.
So it's that little bit of comedy, and then of course this is the part that always freaking confused me. For one, when I was younger, I was like, is he in high school? And he's living by himself? This is weird. And does he really know her? You know what I mean? That always, every time I would be like, is he joking at this part? He's like, don't I know you? She's like, I sit right behind you in chemistry class or something like that.
We've
he's
gone on dates.
Yeah, he's like, you said you wanted to you wanted me to bury your children.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm like, is this
what?
Are they
Bury
joking?
my children?
Yeah.
Well, they were definitely joking.
Yeah. Are they kidding around?
My favorite part now is when Pac-Man's like over there. He's like, I think you have a concussion. And I'm like, these guys don't know about concussion protocol.
Yes.
I should go there and break this down for him. This kid could be severely injured for life now.
Yeah.
And come to find out, maybe that's what knocked him into his psychic powers of
something.
What dream world.
Yeah. Rhino did it.
Or the goalpost. One of the two.
Both of them. I think it was the double
effort.
Yeah. Yes.
It was Rhino goalpost double whammy.
So, of course, they're walking through the town, and the town is very reminiscent of
and by there you mean her and him.
Her and him, yeah. They're kind of walking and kissing, crossing the street. I guess they're walking home, right?
Right.
They're in his house, and he has a dream. In his dream, he is going to, I guess, the house that he was raised in.
Right. And he's still walking with her.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is weird.
This is the street I grew up on.
Yeah, huh. And then he goes off on his own, and he sees the
Well, he even turns back around, and she's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Then there's that van that says Pinker's, television repair. What?
Right.
Somebody fixing the TV this late?
Right.
That's weird. So he goes in, and his little brother, fingers are broken, cut off pretty much.
Yeah.
Like he was defending himself from the knife. And then he hears a screaming, and he goes upstairs. And of course, Horace Pinker, the killer, is like, "Hey, boy, what are you doing here?" Like he knows him in some weird way. Yeah. It's like, "Oh, look who's here." And she's screaming at him to like do something, right? So he wakes up out of his dream.
But he goes to do something.
Right. He jumps at him and then
wakes up in bed.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute. And he gets a call from his dad, like right after, right? You need to come to the house. And he's like, or no, he doesn't tell him to come to the house. He says, stay there. There's nothing you can do here. So he goes over there, and it's raining really bad. And come to find out, it really happened.
Right.
And he's like, Dad, what happened? And his dad's a dick. He's like, you need to leave. Right. I told you, you can't do nothing. But he's the guy that was too close to catching Horace.
That's right. So he's focused on his mission of getting Horace, but Horace took his family out.
Right.
Which happened to be Jonathan's foster parents.
Mm-hmm. Johnny.
As we find out.
Yeah. And it's like weird that they have this weird connection.
It is. And I think that it's... I do like the way that it's not on the nose of just like, here, this is the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? They let it come on little bit by little bit. Like I didn't like, not even the part that he's a foster kid comes out early. You know what I mean? And I couldn't tell for the longest time if he was calling the guy Dad or Don, like when he was talking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, they have the funeral, and of course, the coach is there, Pac-Man's there, Rhino's there,
right.
Everybody that he knows, and they're kind of grieving. They go to the pub, right? And right on the screen, they're watching the news. And they're like, whoa, let's change this channel as soon as they walk in, right? So he's like, hey, I wonder, I know you're wondering why I asked you here. I saw the murders. He's like, I could smell the blood, everything like that. These 3 fingers were the ones that were cut or broken.
Yeah, he went through like all the scenes, like where they were killed, and they're like, "How'd you know that?"
He's like, "Nobody knows that. How did you know that?" And he's like, "Cause I." And his dad, of course, is like, "No, you don't know nothing." Later, so he runs outside. Yeah, and then he's like, "No, I really know. I even know what the dude's name is." He's like, "Okay, whatever." So they do find him,
right?
And so he's like, "Only condition is I'm in. You take me with you." And he's like, that's not a protocol. I don't
It's also
care.
not protocol to break and enter
a
place.
But it was really
the
cool.
The guy even says it.
Yeah.
He's like, are you sure?
Yeah, the other cop's like, you don't even have a warrant. It's like, don't need one. We're investigating a breaking and entering. And the dude's like, all right, let's do it. We're cops. We can do whatever we want.
Whatever we do.
So yeah, and of course, Jonathan's like, oh man, it's just like my dream. Mm-hmm. It really does. It's faded. Yeah. It's pretty old. You don't really see anything. He's like, I know he's in there. So that's another nod to the psychic connection or whatever they have together. But yet he knows he's in there, but he doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah. You can almost feel him.
Yeah. So they all get in there. The other cops are skeptical. The sergeant's like, whatever, lights up a smoke. And then of course he's in like this kind of hidden booth, his electric bill must be like fucking through the roof, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All those tube TVs going on at once. Damn, you know,
Yeah.
and they were all like lopsided and had skulls on them and stuff, and you're like, whoa. That's
Well, he wasn't paying much for the building.
No,
So,
the rest of the lights were off, so it was just blue filter light, you know. So, so of course, that sergeant or lieutenant or whatnot
He gets killed.
Yeah, he gets yoinked into the whatever the back room is, right? And so, of course, Jonathan comes around the corner. He's like, "Wasn't one of your guys over here?" And the dude's like, maybe." They look down, and there's a cigarette still burning.
Right.
And he's like, "Huh." So he calls over the other dude, and he's like, "Hey, where's the lieutenant or sergeant or whatnot?" He's like, he was right." And then they start seeing the blood pour out. Like it pours out. Like he just killed him right there. You know what I mean? It took long enough to get to the door.
He's very quiet about it.
Right. So they get into the room, but he's already gone.
Right.
And they notice the cop has no clothes on and shit. But he's already snuck out the back door, and he's walking up towards the other two cops, right?
And then he just massacres them.
Yeah, so he kills the woman cop, stabs her in the stomach, and then he like slashes the other dude, right?
I do like when they come back to this scene later, and the guy's on top of the car, and his mouth is like wide open.
Yeah, he, like staring with his arms out, you know? He choked him with the radio, and he cut all the other radios in the cars, you know? And home dude's like, "You need to go home. I'll handle this from here." Whatever, right? Because he takes off and he like runs into the door and he's like, I'm Horace Pinker.
Horace Pinker, bitch.
Yes. So he's on the loose. They know who he is. Mm-hmm. They release the footage, and he's at like the only hotel in the whole, you know, town or something like that. Right. Eating off a dirty plate. Is that did he live at that plate?
Who knows?
He probably killed somebody to get in there. Where's all the freaking other people in this town?
It's a good question. It's a good question. They come out at the end.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah, at the very end when they're looking at the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Because the TVs are off.
Yeah,
they're all sitting at home watching TV.
That's what it... Oh, my God. Wes Craven, you genius.
Yep.
Genius, Wes Craven, go together. Peanut butter and jelly.
Isn't the next scene the morning scene where it's Jonathan and the girl? What is the girl's name? He says it like all the time. Allison?
Yeah, Allison.
Yeah.
What is it?
And they're like, it is Allison.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's leaving because he's going to be late. Because they only get those uncomfortable noises, but it's them working out.
Yeah, he's like doing pull-ups, right?
Sorta. Because when they cut to him, you can tell he's just like going up and down, you know? Like he's not really doing anything.
He gets up to 20, he's like 20. And then he jumps. And then he sells that chair. Yeah. Every time he sits in that damn chair, he's selling it. Like he's like nuzzling in, like he's
the vibrations.
Oh, he's like, oh, and then he like always whipping his hair back and just like, oh, and she's like, "Don't you got practice to go to?" "Oh yeah, I'm going."
Yeah.
"I'm just worried about this exam I got today." "What?" "Yeah, right." And she's like, "Hey, you know what? I love you, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "I almost forgot something. I got you this."
And it's a necklace.
It's for her birthday because it's her birthday that day.
And she's even like, with everything that happened, you remember? I couldn't remember. I wouldn't have thought that you would have remembered.
Right.
You know.
So yeah, he really loves her.
Yeah.
I guess that's what's
true love.
Yeah, they're getting at that.
This is the part where he goes down and he gets in the 55 Chevy or whatever it is.
Yeah. It was like a 55, 56 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool car.
I think, yeah. Wasn't 57 because it didn't have the fins.
Right.
But at any rate, where he's like sitting in there, it's like almost like he's thinking like
he knows something's up.
What's going on?
Right. He's
go back in there.
Is this a dream?
And he doesn't. He leaves.
Yeah, he just puts it in reverse. Done.
And then what happens, Brock?
He's at practice. And he's putting on the jets, right?
Putting on the jets as you do in practice.
And then the coach is like, "Hey, you need to come home." But that's after what happens before that.
Okay.
Horace Pinker is already there.
Yeah.
So that's where he kind of had that little, he was like, "I know he's here, but I'm going to leave anyway.
Right.
I don't need to miss practice." Because they were saying how he still pledged to play.
Right.
Because it's going on the TV and they're showing his picture, Horace Pinker's picture, everything like that.
Right.
Well, he comes in there and he brutally murders his girlfriend as a revenge to him.
Absolutely.
Like he finds out where he's at and he just freaking massacres her. Blood everywhere. Kind
Everywhere.
of crazy. He comes over there and they're like, son, you need to go home. You know, the guy's being really nice. Like, yeah, something's up. So he goes there and there's like 50 cops.
He just walks right through.
Yeah. And they're like, hey,
who let him in here? All of you?
yes. Yeah. And of course he goes in there and she's in an actual pool of blood.
Yeah, like a bathtub full of blood.
Right. Half blood, half water, whatever. And it has a message to him on it too. You know, it's like happy birthday, Jonathan, or something like that. Written in blood on the mirror.
Yeah.
Like a really cool bathroom. And it's a cool house, you know. It reminds me of the Reanimator house.
Yeah, a little bit.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
No basement though. So
that we know about.
yeah. So he's like, no, I want you to nail this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he comes up with a plan that night, doesn't he? Because he's already connected to him in a dream. So basically, he's kind of like looking at his future at the top of the whatever you call it, football stands. You know, he's kind of like looking out at the dusk of the day, and he's like, future. And then he runs down the stairs and he gets in the car with Rhino, right? And he's like, you got me on this, Rhino? And he's like, yeah, man, whatever. You know, I'm your best bud, blah, blah, blah.
You know, I'm the Rhino.
I'm the Rhino, man. So, he drove up to the field because, of course, you know, he's a star football player.
Yeah,
he can do whatever. Yeah. He just drives in. He's like, we're meeting here.
That's right.
Because this is my place. So
Welcome to my house.
so he ends up in a dream and he's walking down the same street that they were walking down earlier.
Right.
So then he hears a scream and he runs up, you know, and I think that's Heather Langenkamp. I think that's
probably right.
And she's screaming like, oh, you got to help me. And he's like, what are you doing here, boy? You know, I mean, totally like fucking with him. Right. And of course, you know, the whole deal is to find him because it's like the future somehow. It's not happening in real time. It's the future, but yet he's interacting with Horace Pinker in the future as well.
Okay.
And Horace Pinker doesn't know he's coming, but yet, Jesus Christ, is confusing.
I thought it was real time.
No, because remember, because you didn't hear the screaming, and the woman was already outside in the hallway.
That's right.
You know, but where's the neighbors in this place?
Right.
Is she the only one?
They're watching
the place?
TV, didn't we just establish?
Oh,
this?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They're watching the Banana Splits hours. so
very popular in 1989.
Yeah, I know, right? So I mean,
they're watching American Gladiator. Let's be real.
Let's be real. The Gauntlet, the shit. That was like the coolest one.
With laser and turbo
and blazer
and
Malamute
and Burbo.
Cynthia.
Why does she just have a regular name? Nobody knows.
It's mean Cynthia. So yeah, the cops follow from the because he wakes up. He's about to fight him, and Horace is going after him. Right? He's like, "Whatever, man." So the woman doesn't run. She's still screaming like, "Help me!"
Right?
He's like, he slashes at her and everything. He's like, "Why don't you try to take me on?" So he comes after him. He's like, "Rhino, wake me up, you know." And he gets woke up.
Right.
He's like, "I know the street names."
It was like Magellan and something. Yeah.
Yeah, Columbus and Magellan.
Magella. I don't know.
Yeah,
Magilla. Gorilla.
So he's like, all right, I know where they are at. So the cops are there too because they follow him.
Right.
Because they know something's up, right?
Right. Somehow.
So, yeah, they didn't believe him. His stepdad didn't believe him at first.
Right.
Was like, bullshit, you're stupid.
Maybe they put like some police on him just because they were afraid for his sanity.
But he was there.
Yeah. True.
And
wow.
Yeah.
That was contagious.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully you didn't yawn out there, people.
If you did, that's okay. You can rest your little head.
Oh,
And
rest
just let
your
us
little
put you to
eye.
bed, son.
You tuck it out, little tiger. So
Come on, Buckaroo.
he gets there and he's like, he hears a scream and the cops show up and the cops go up and Horace is at the top of the stairs.
Right.
Because they know something's up. And so he throws the woman down the stairs. He's like, here, catch this. And of course, Jonathan's right there.
Right.
Jumps over the woman because he's a star athlete, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing he can do is jump.
He can jump and
put on the jets.
Put on the jets,
Yeah. He kicks it into like second gear. You know what I mean? He starts in second gear.
Yeah, that
just so he can
sense.
get a leg up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's chasing
like
Horace
the
up the stairs.
Usain Bolt of serial killer movie.
Right.
Victims.
He's like, put my head down. When you watch it, you'll see it every time he runs. I swear to God. And it's just one of those things that I notice, and I've always noticed. But he walks him up the stairs, and of course, Horace Pinker has this dead leg, right? Apparently. But yet he's got one hell of a balance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he walks across a ladder, across 2 buildings, with a limp. You know, like I was thinking, damn.
Horace the Pimp walks with a limp. Yes.
Yes. I was like, man, that's crazy. You know, because it was all messed up, which we find out why. And
foreshadowing later.
He gets across, and Jonathan comes out, and he's like, "Ha ha, I got you!" And he throws the ladder down, and Jonathan's like, "Oh shit! Wait a minute, I could jump this." Guess who's next? Rhino. Rhino comes up, right? And he's like, "No, don't do it!" And he turns on the jets. Boom! He's gone. He jumps across. Woo! You know, it's pretty awesome, right?
I like the sound effects.
Yeah, woo! Whoa, Jonathan, that's crazy. So of course he's trying to break in. The cops get up to the other side. All of the cops,
right?
It's like they have. He knows protocol.
He's trying to like break into the stairs to get down into the building.
Yeah, and the cops, all 18 of the cops end up on the other roof, and they're like, "Go back down, go to the other." Come on, dude. Somebody would have already been covering that,
right?
I mean, he knows enough about protocol to know that you put somebody on the back, you put somebody on the front.
You would think.
In the other building. So Horace is kind of doing that, and he does that freaking karate jump and like freaking pushes him up against that goddamn door. It's like boom. Yeah. It looks really cool.
It's like a double dragon kick.
Yeah. It's a Hadouken kick. And of
Yoga
course,
flame.
Yes, of course, they get into this fight, and Horace Pinker's a badass.
He is, but Jonathan's not a schlep in his own right. You know?
Yeah, and he's literally like, he's fighting him. He slashes his face. Right. Gets a good cut on him, and of course, he's about to kill him. What happens? The police come through the other side. They unlock the door.
Right.
They didn't have to bust it down.
No.
And of course he gives up.
He gives up right away.
Yeah.
Of course there's like 5 guns trained on him.
Yeah, and he's like, whatever, you got me. You know? Of course Rhino's up there. And Jonathan's like, and he says something like, "Should have heard your girlfriend pleading for her life while I cut her." And
I did it real slow.
He's like, "No, let me at him." He's like, "We got him. We got the fucker. You know, he's gonna fry for this for sure."
I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to be there. I want to be on the front row. He's like, "Don't worry, kid. I'll have front row seats."
And they do.
Yes. So
middle, center, front row.
Yeah, and also it was like he went through trial and everything within a day.
I don't know that there was any time mentioned. I guess you could assume it was a day, but I didn't feel like that was
2 days.
Well, no, because his little scar had healed up a little bit.
Oh, maybe it was a week.
Yeah, it was probably a week.
Yeah,
they're like, this guy's a jackass. Let's kill him.
Let's kill him as soon as we can. Right, get him out of here. Right. So they show up, and it's like, "No more, Mr. Nice Guy, no more." And like the dude's walking really slow, you know, it's a freaking imposing room, you know, it's like a dome for death. It's a Thunder Death Dome. And the cops walking really slow, and they all kind of come in, you know, sit down. And of course, they cut to the 2 guards walking over to Horace's cell,
right?
And then the priest is there, yeah. And so, and they're like, they look. He goes, "You know what's crazy? He only requested a television set in his room."
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, he had a big ass freaking room too,
Yeah, he
right?
did.
And well, I guess it was a death row room.
His
I don't
last
know.
wish. I didn't know they got a last wish. I thought they got like a last meal. They
Right,
had to
right.
pick out.
Tater tots.
You get a last wish.
Yeah.
I wish to not be here.
Bye.
I wish to go to Iceland.
I'm like, shit, you got us there.
Ah, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. So there's one inconsistency.
One? Just one?
So they show up to his cell, and guess what? He's got a pair of jumper cables attached to the TV.
Right.
Now, did he request the jumper cables? Did he smuggle those in
In his anus, yes.
in something?
Yeah. That's how you do it, I hear.
This is
He's like a jumper cable mule.
right.
Yeah.
This is the turn.
Yeah,
for the
this
movie,
is where
right?
the movie, like, up to this point, this seems like a very good build-up. It's a very good movie. Or not terrible, you know. But this is where everything changes.
Big time. This is a swift change.
Yes.
For everything. So he's getting electrocuted by the deal. He's like, "Give me the power," and they're like, "No, get off that fucking shit!" Right?
But
And-
the like whatever comes out of the TV, it's like some smoke or whatever. And,
but it's a pair of lips. It's like,
And
you
there's
got
that-
it.
Yeah. But he talks like he's like a rocker dude. You know what I mean?
It's like the electricity demon. I don't get it because it's witchcraft.
He's a
Because
it's supposed to be the devil.
is it?
Yeah.
So because I mean he
demon or something.
Yeah, obviously he was into witchcraft because he had all the dead cats in his place and all the sacrificial stuff, and he was just evil all the way through. And of course, he touches the bars and it shocks the dudes. And then he's like, "Give me all your power," and the lips, the whatever,
Smoky lips come out.
the Rolling Stones smoky lips, is like, "You got it, man." It's like a
Yeah,
puppet.
I was like, what?
What?
That seems very weird vernacular for a demon.
Yeah, what is
or
this?
devil.
Well, because he got more than just a television set in his room. He had black candles. He had chalk.
He had everything he needed.
He had a book, a book of spells.
Yeah,
weird. So he was kind of like set up to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they pull him out because they think he's almost dead, and they're like, "Man, they're gonna freaking have our shit for this."
So the one dude gives him mouth to mouth.
Oh, and he bites his lip
and just pulls it too. Just pulls it down. And then the other guy tries to stop him, and he bites off his fingers. And this is like that scene where they had to cut a lot out.
Yeah, and he's like, "Finger
Because
looking
I think
good."
it was supposed to be super gruesome.
It was bad too. So yeah, like we don't really know what happened to him, even though like the TV's like still going. It's a tube TV. They last through nuclear
forever.
war.
Yeah.
They're Indiana Jones and shit. And and plus it had its own stand on the wall.
Yeah,
there's a lot of inconsistencies in this
100%.
part. So, they're kicking the shit out of him because he bit his fingers off and bit the other dude's lip almost off, right?
Right.
So the other cops show up and they're like, "Get them to the infirmary, stand him up, let's go." The priest walks in and is like, "Blasphemy."
God damn you.
Yes. Yeah, he kicks everything, all the candles over and shit like that, right? So, of course, they get him strapped into the chair. The what's his name? The warden is like, "Hey, I'm warranted by the state to do this to you." And that one woman's like, "This is so
treating him like animal."
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And she's the doctor.
Yeah, right.
And there's another inconsistency we'll get to in just a minute with the doctor.
Yeah, so basically he's like, "Roll on one."
But he starts talking.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And this is where he's like,
"I was beaten real
I
good.
was beating your mama.
Beaten real good when I killed your mama."
Right.
It's like, what? He's
And
like,
you got that gun and you shot me in the leg, in the back of the knee, or whatever it was.
"I guess it runs in the family, man." He's like, "What?" He's like, "You shut the fuck up." The cops all getting mad at him. Right.
And that
He's like,
warden
"Shut
like
up."
shuts him down, though. He's
Yeah.
like, "You'll be quiet."
Hey, back off.
He's allowed to say whatever he wants to say.
Right. And he keeps going.
Yeah.
He's got a right to this. And
But he
he's-
basically alludes to the fact that he's actually Jonathan's father, or Johnny's father.
right.
Dun dun dun.
He actually, yeah.
What a turn.
You're like,
no one
uh-oh.
knew he was a foster kid. We
Yeah.
found that out just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And now that's maybe hints the psychic link.
There you go. Maybe it's something, maybe in the
'Cause
womb,
you can feel him.
his mom's or something.
Well, I think it. Dad, you're half genetic, I guess.
I don't know.
Pieces.
Yeah. So, so he's sitting in the chair.
And
Sorry. And basically, he's like, roll on one, right? So the dude hits it, and it starts freaking sending the electricity through him, right? But everything's going crazy, too.
yeah, and the lights go out. And
Everything's flickering and stuff like that, and it's like, poof, poof, and there's nobody there. They're like, what? Or no, he actually comes out of it, and he's like, you can't get. They're like, no, do it again. And the dude's like, no, it won't work.
Right.
It's because he like fried the system from the inside out. Right?
Well, isn't this the part where he sends the doctor in? Go check him out. So you're sending this female doctor in by herself
with a serial killer.
With a serial killer who you just electrocuted that didn't die.
Yeah, and he's strapped.
Yeah.
And then the lights go out.
And he's gone.
He's gone. And they're like, what?
What do you do?
Everybody gets to go in.
Pinker.
Everybody gets to go in at this point, right?
Right.
So, of course, his head's all mangled and shit like that, right? He's all messed up. Jonathan and his stepdad. Jesus, this movie's boring me to death. And
you'll be bored to death.
So they go in there, and he's behind a door, because they think he escaped, and it's the husk of his dead body, right?
Right.
And so they're like, oh, well, that's cool.
We got him.
Get the nurse, blah, blah, blah. Put her in the car. Let's go.
They take the doctor and put her in the back of the car.
Yeah, of course, Pac-Man, Rhino, Coach, they're all waiting outside, and he's like, he's dead, but I don't know. Something's not right.
Right.
Jonathan's like, nah, this ain't right. And so they're driving in the car, of course, and Pastore, which was the same. He was a cop in Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Was he named Pastore?
No, well, almost, because he was like, wherever the red dot goes, you bang. That was that dude, right? Yeah. So, yeah, Pastore's in the car and everything, and he's like, check on her. Well, she looks like she's asleep. She's resting, and all of a sudden she pops up like a witch.
And like turns that dude's head around.
Yes, all the way around.
Right?
How about some head? Something crazy like that.
And then she goes for the driver and runs him into like a fuel truck.
It's like stalled in the middle of the road.
Yeah, and everything explodes.
Yeah.
And then
they see him. They see the deal. So they're going there like, whoa. And yeah, of course, Jonathan's like, oh man, I got to check this out. And he's like, get away from there, stupid. You can't look in there, right?
Right.
And then, of course, they find Pastore.
Right.
And he's on the other side of some bush somewhere. Must have got thrown clear. Get him to the hospital, right? But it's him. You know it's him, right? You know it is. So Jonathan goes home, and he's packing up because he's like, everything's over with. I'm moving. I don't know what I'm doing.
My girlfriend got murdered in this house. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
As you do.
And of course, he sits down in the chair again, and he sells the shit out of that thing. It's like, oh.
He loves that chair.
Yeah, he really does. The Vibomatic.
Mm-hmm. She'll come into play a little bit later.
Right. So he hears a knock on the door, and the phone's ringing.
Right.
At the same time, and he's like, ugh. So he goes, he's walking.
You can hear the guy yelling, and it's obviously a cop because he's like, yeah, your dad sent me, or whatever.
And then, of course, his dad's on the phone. Like, if you see Pastore, tell him he's got to go back to the hospital. He somehow left the hospital. He's missing. We don't know where he's at. So he looks out the door after he takes the chain off, right?
Right.
And, of course, it's Pastore, and he's all kind of jacked up, right? And then he's like, Pastore, or what are you doing here? And he's like, my dad sent you here. He's like, and then he looks in the peephole, and, of course, home dude pulls out his 44. And like blows a hole through it. I was like, whoa, right? And this dude is the worst. Like Horace is really good with a knife up close, but he's a horrible shot.
I disagree. He's only really bad at shooting Johnny.
Yeah, right.
Johnny, because when he goes to shoot the jogger guy a little bit later,
easy,
no problem. One shot takes him down.
Yeah, right in the back. The dude's like, I don't want any part of this. Yeah, so
there's multiple times where he's like 5 feet from Johnny and
he can't hit
can't hit him.
Yeah. So this is another time where he turns on the jets at least 18 times, but Pastore is even limping too. So he's taking on Horace's characteristics.
And that's kind of the thing that we get to notice now throughout as he starts jumping around through these bodies. Like they all start taking that limp, you know,
the drag.
Yeah. So unlike, other movies that do this, like I think of Fallen with Denzel and John Goodman.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was a better movie.
Time.
That's the one.
Yes.
Or any of those kind of movies, you know, like there's not necessarily a telltale,
but there's a tell. Yeah,
but not so pronounced.
Yeah,
you know, as like this leg drag.
Yeah, that really was because, I mean, he's running from the dude, and he goes to a park.
Yeah,
you know, with a running track. Yeah. You know, running something, you know. So he's like hauling ass through it. Home dude's like, stop so I can shoot you. While he's on the bridge, you know. Yeah. He's like, stop moving, you son of a bitch. But yeah, he always catches up to him. He's never really that far behind him.
Which is, I don't understand. This guy's like a college athlete.
You know he should have smoked him.
And the other dude is in an old dude's body with a limp.
And he's overweight and has, you know, health issues.
Right.
You know, so like he falls down and it looks like he's having a heart attack. And of course he gets him every time. He's like, Jonathan, where am I? You know, and he's like, Pastore, come here. I'm going to get closer. And of course he's got a gun on his leg. You know, I mean, it's like, I fell for it, you son of a bitch.
You had the ankle holster, you son of a bitch.
So that's when the jogger's like, is he okay? He's like, yeah, just leave us alone. A cop's been shooting at some dude. Actually wings him once. Right. You know? And he's shooting every tree in the whole park too, you know? He's like bumping into shit and shooting stuff. You know? So he's like, you should have picked a better body, Horace. He's like, but Jonathan, it's me. You know, and of course he shoots the jogger, and then that looks pretty gross when he's like crawling towards him. Yeah. That's just like gross. Like he's gonna hump him.
He's like bouncy. Yeah.
Yes. So Jonathan, of course, is still not that far away.
Right.
He's like feeding the ducks before he leaves, right?
Oh, well, I guess that part's over.
And he's like, well, my arm hurts.
And now we have the jogger who is now Horace. And this is...
yeah, but we don't see him because Jonathan's standing at the light pole, right?
Right.
And the little girl bumps it. Sorry, mister. And he's like, oh, you know, just next time be a little bit more careful. And she's like, okay, sorry. And that looks creepy too. Like it reminds me of In the Mouth of Madness, you know, the little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It gets weirder when the little kid gets Horace.
Yeah. Well, she's riding somehow, and she rides by the trash cans, and of course, that's where he is, right?
Right.
The jogger that got shot in the back, because he's dying, you know. I don't know why he jumped into that dude's body anyway. He could have, like, taken a couple of breaths and got back up, you know? Got a fresh body. So, you know, of course he grabs a little girl, but Jonathan sees it happening and he's like, no, he's like, get out of her, Horace. And she's like, screw you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, mom asks him, have you seen a little girl? Oh yeah. She was by that light pole.
Yeah. That was before we see
before she gets, inhabited.
Yes.
So of course, you know, he drops her, mom's like chasing her, and she ends up getting in a construction vehicle.
So let's talk about this. I did not know. I was unaware that they made stealth bulldozers or backhoes, because this thing, when it's running, you don't hear it until you see it.
No.
That's the rule with this thing, because I've never seen a jump scare from out of nowhere from a bulldozer that's like 2 feet away from you.
Right.
Like you didn't hear that coming?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, this is yeah, this is like right before, this is before he like grabs her and stuff like that and she runs away. So yeah, it like comes out of freaking nowhere, dude. There's no way.
Come on, man.
He's like,
that was terrible. I was like,
like he was surrounded
I'm
by.
so scared by this.
What? Yeah, and then
You would have heard it coming. First of all, they're not really all that fast.
No.
You know what I mean? And you would have heard it coming from 50 yards away.
At least.
I mean, if
you would have known
if
it
you're
was
deaf
running.
in one ear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you would have known something was running somewhere.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and she runs it into the sand,
Yeah.
right? Or Horace does. And he's trying to get out, and he's like, come here. You know, so he grabs her, and Mom shows up, and then she actually gets away and starts running too with the limp.
Right.
You know, she's dragging her leg too. And then he grabs her while Mom's like, no, stop. You know what I mean? So they get to another clearing.
As you do.
Right. And he grabs her. And then, of course, you know, because his girlfriend comes to visit him, like right before all this happened. And is like, hey, you know, this will help you, because he wakes up. Remember?
Oh, you're talking about the necklace?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's got the necklace, which I don't know how that is enchanted. Maybe it's a true love
It's
thing.
their true love, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the ultimate pure
'Cause
good.
when she got it, she was like, I love you, Jonathan
yeah,
Harkin or whatever his
yeah,
last
Jonathan
name
dude.
is. What was his last name? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Not at all.
So he throws the thing on
Parker, not Harker.
So he throws the necklace on the little girl, right? And it starts like exorcism out,
Right.
You know, I mean,
And
it's
he
like
pops out.
He comes out, and Mom's like standing. She's the one with the crazy eyes
Right,
too.
right.
You know what I mean? I don't mean crazy in a bad way, but like
Yeah.
you notice these
Striking,
eyes,
yeah.
Like the woman that was Evil Lynn in the Transformer, or not Transformer, Masters of the Universe.
Wow.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe movie.
Wow.
And
You are the Transformer movie. I am the He-Man character.
yeah, and Meg Foster, that's what her name is,
Ah.
and she was also in Alive films. They Live.
Oh, is she like some sort of amalgamation of like Jodie Foster and Meg Ryan, like put
I think
together?
so. Yeah, but way hotter.
Yeah, I think they. I think they probably just built her in a lab.
Yeah, her eyes are crazy. They're like gray. But yeah, just like these two women too.
Right.
So of course he jumps into her, right? And you know, Jonathan's like, oh, you know, God,
Doesn't he
dang it.
almost immediately jump into the construction worker guy from there?
Well, pretty much, because
Yeah.
she's going through this violent fit. You know, he's taking over because
Oh, and then the construction guy's like, "Is this guy bothering you?"
yeah, and he grabs him and he's like, he's like, now I can get in some beef. You know what I mean?
He's like, "How do you like this body?"
Yeah, and the dude's like a freaking beast,
Yeah,
though,
he is.
because he has that pickaxe, right? And, you know, the ponytail, you know, the curls.
This is also the guitarist for Alice Cooper. Yes.
Yeah, looked like he was chewing on grenades before he did it. And he throws that freaking pickaxe at least 50 yards.
Oh, into the lake with the
Yes.
locket on it, or not
Mhm.
locket, but the pendant.
Yes.
So I'm going to pause right here. So that guy who was the guitarist, right? First concert I ever went to, Alice Cooper brings out the National Razor, a guillotine, and has his head cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitarist goes over and picks up his head, and he's playing the guitar with one hand, and the head is singing the song.
yeah.
And then he throws the head off stage with that great throwing mechanism. I mean, he's just awesome, an awesome thrower. Throws
Yeah, he's
throws
very
it,
good.
and then all of a sudden there's like an explosion. And Alice Cooper appears and starts, there's a lot of theatrics within that. But I was like, that guy, I know I've seen him.
That dude. He's
that
like,
dude.
yeah. You know, I mean, but he chucks that thing.
Yeah, he
like
does.
it's
He
like
chucks it like.
Well, it's got some
nobody's
heft
business.
to it, but
Sure.
but not enough for him to not throw it halfway across the lake.
Well, you know,
He threw it high too. Like it was.
let's be realistic. There is no way that guy threw that far.
No, he it would have made it right to the edge of the shore. Anybody, come
You
on.
might have made it into the water, but you're not making it to the middle of the lake.
No, with a pickaxe that probably weighs what? What do you think? 6 pounds, 8 pounds?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
You know, most people can't throw a softball that far. They do throwing a pickaxe, right? So,
With good form, just good form, man.
right. does he kick him in the balls or something like that?
I believe so.
And then he turns on the extra jets, right?
Extra jets.
And he outruns that dude.
No problem.
Really?
But the old police guy with the limp, that's already very pronounced.
Yeah, he's like baiting him. He's like, I'm going to stop, let him catch up.
He stopped so many times, dude. He's like, okay. I'm way ahead now.
So the next scene, he's in the gym, right, at the college, and he's talking to Pac-Man and Rhino and Coach, right? Pac-Man's fixing him up because he's a team doctor, you know. So he's like sewing up his arm and everything like that, right? And he's like, you know, there's only one thing that can stop him, and it's in the middle of that lake, and I gotta go get it. Home dude's on, you know, Horace and the construction worker dude are underneath the bleachers,
right,
listening,
right.
You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, you know, like he's what?
How does that happen?
Yeah, how did he get there? Nobody saw him. He even still has his construction hat on,
right?
You know what I mean? Like he's full regalia.
Yeah. You got stuff that you're wearing so that you will be seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not trying to blend in, even behind the bleachers. I don't know if I've ever been that unaware of a lot of things. You know what I mean? Doing anything in my life.
No, I agree.
You know, I would have been like, wait a minute. There's somebody back there. Run. Let's get him now.
Right.
So he's got to go back and get that deal. And he's like, well, nobody can see anything in here because you need a mask. You need a mask. Right. And I have one in my closet at home. Well, he's moving and shit, you know. Right. Well, I don't understand why they're like, you know what, Jonathan? We'll go run to Walmart real quick. We'll see if we can find a mask or the nearest sporting goods store. I'll spend the $3.99 it costs to get a damn mask instead of. But he, you know, in a real world, he'd be like, dude, I don't want to pay for a new mask. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll pay for it. And then he's like, no. I'm not going to have you buy a mask. This dude's trying to kill me. You know, it's a whole big debacle.
Whole thing.
Yeah. And he's like, well, okay, I'll go to your house. You know, me and Pac-Man will do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So Pac-Man and the coach.
They go to get the mask, and Rhino and Jonathan have to go to the lake. Right. So they're standing there, and this is a little bit of weird tete-a-tete.
Yes, I agree.
Back and forth, you know. Jonathan's like, oh man, they're like an hour late. Like they waited an extra long time or something like that too. I knew it, yeah, I think it was.
But would you have waited an hour when you're like, hey, this murderer's about?
Yeah, there's a murderer around. So then he's like, well, I'm going to go get it. So he walks into the lake, right? You know, in his sweatpants. He's wearing sweats the whole time too.
Rhino's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing, stupid? So he jumps in there with him and he pushes him back. And then he's like, fine, I'll go get the mask. And then he's like, Rhino's like, what's going on?
Right.
So, of course, you know.
He's like, I'm your friend.
He's like, stay away from me, man. He's like, if you're my friend, you'll leave me alone. This is something I got to do. So he throws a punch at him, like a really bad punch, you know?
It's weird that his fight with Horace works out the way it does after you see that punch.
Right. I mean, Rhino's like badass, man.
Right.
Well, I don't know why he wasn't fighting.
Well, I don't, where's that dragon kick when you need it?
Right. So Rhino grabs, he's like, I don't want to get into this with you, man. You know? He's got him pinned.
You know what I could do to you.
He's like, you know what I could do to you, motherfucker. And so he's like, dude, I got to do this on my own. So he leaves him there, you know. He goes back to the house, and guess what? It's kind of eerie in there.
What?
The showers all going and stuff, and he goes into the bathroom, and of course it says something like, you know, something Jonathan, but it's written in her writing,
right.
Like she did it. So he pulls back because he thinks it's her again because she popped out of the shower before.
After she passed, yeah.
So he turns it. And then it's the coach. He's like, hey, Jonathan. Like, I thought it was something weird. You know, I mean, it's just weird, right? And, of course, he starts to attack him because he's covered in blood, right? And he's got Horace's knife. Or, no. The construction worker's knife.
Right.
You know, what happened to the construction worker?
I don't think we see that.
We don't.
No, that's off screen. Where he jumps into the coach.
Yeah. I guess the coach killed Pac-Man too, right?
Either that or the construction worker killed him, and then I don't know.
Coach came afterward
I don't
or
know.
something. Yeah,
I don't think we know.
yeah.
I would assume that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Could have gone either way, I guess.
Yeah, I never noticed that until right now. I'm like, what happened to him?
The Pac-Man died.
Yeah. Well, we don't find that out until he gets Friday the 13th.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's right. He pulls the light.
Yeah. What? He rigged him.
All magical the way they do that.
Yeah, because the coach is like, says something, like, I'm going to have to kill you, Jonathan. He's like, I'm trying to fight him, Jonathan. You got to get away.
It, coach. You can do it.
Yeah, and he's like, you just got to fight him, man. Just got to fight him.
It's the willpower.
And home dude stabs his own hand.
Yeah.
He's like, ugh.
And you hear Horace say, like, I could eat his willpower for breakfast or something.
Yeah. And then, of course, homegirl comes out, right? And she's like, power of God.
The power of Christ compels you.
Bling!
And she shoots the magic white ray at him.
Yeah. It's from his chest. He's like, ouch. Because he's like, I left something in the closet for you, Jonathan. And he goes in there and the mask is destroyed, right? Perfectly, right in the middle.
But I don't know why he like turned his back on him and like was looking in there. I would be like, I don't care.
Yes.
I'm going to deal with you. I can figure out what's in the closet later.
We'll get it. And so, of course, he gets knocked down and Horace escapes.
Right.
Somehow he goes, or he's in the other room. He's in the living room while, Jonathan is kind of like, I don't know what's going on. And then his dad shows up.
That's right.
And Horace figures out, he's like, screw it. You know what? And so he makes his fingers into like a light socket thing. And he's like, pew, so he disappears. So he's learning his powers.
Yeah, which she mentions earlier when she comes back the first time, Allison, that once he learns how to move, he's going to be impossible to catch.
Right. So he figured it out.
Yeah, now he can pass through like electricity.
Right, easily.
Because he's the shaka.
So, of course, Jonathan's dad comes in and they have this really deep talk. He's smoking a cigarette and he's like, wait a minute. Is that a dead body in there? Of course, it's the coach and everything. And then the other cops show up and they're arresting him.
Right.
Like, you killed these two dudes? You know what I mean?
Right,
it's kind of crazy. So they apparently arrest him, or they're about to. And the cops come in and of course he's like, he touches the lamp and he's like, God damn this electricity around here. And it's him.
Right.
He jumped into him really quick.
Right.
He's like, put him in my car. So it just immediately changes, right?
Suddenly it's, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, guys.
So Jonathan goes outside and they're like, come on, man. They don't even have him in any cuffs or anything like that,
Right.
And what does he do? He starts in second gear. He's gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's like, fuck it. This is mine. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go get this dude. Of course, his dad's firing at him. He ends up in the alley or something like that at the TV station.
Something.
Yeah, it's the tallest thing. He's like, screw it. I'm going to go to the tallest thing where everybody will see me.
And we learn how satellites don't work.
Right. Yeah. So of course, Horace Pinker is driving the cop car and shooting at him, trying to kill him. He jumps over the fence and he's like, hey, can we talk about this? What? You think you could really reason with the dude now? That would have been the first thing. I would have been like, Pastore, let's have a conversation. No, you wouldn't have.
Because he was shooting at him.
Of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's shooting around him pretty good.
Yeah.
Completely hitting everything.
Absolutely.
Still, Jonathan's not outrunning him.
No, and then they start climbing the antenna. And this is where I'm like, because he starts going up, and that's the cut, right? Is like, because they show both of them, but like he's going up, Jonathan is.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is Jonathan's up there, and like Horace is right on his ass,
right,
like grabbing his legs, and I'm like, what, dude? You're an athlete. You would have been like halfway up that thing before the old dad guy.
Yeah, he needed a better grip
with the bum leg.
Yeah. So they get up to the top, and they're at the top of the highest place in the whole city. He's like, I got you. Mm-hmm. Of course. And then here's bamboozle number 2.
That's right.
He's like, Jonathan, what are we doing up here? It's like, Dad?
Or Don?
Yeah, is that you? And he's getting near him, right? And he's like, ha, I got you again, stupid. You know?
Why are you so dumb?
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. No?
No. Reverse that.
Reverse it.
But then his dad fakes a heart attack, which tricks Horace to leave.
Yeah, but he still falls over the railing.
Yeah.
Was that part of the trick too?
Must have been.
To almost kill himself?
Because he tells him, he's like, yeah, but he didn't know.
Yeah.
You knew.
You knew. I knew. But he didn't know.
So, yeah, for whatever reason, Pinker leaves him, and then, like, the dad, Don, the foster dad.
Yeah, the foster dad's hanging over the edge because he royally tricks. He's like, oh, he's having a heart attack. So home dude jumps out, or he jumps over the deal, and he goes into the airwaves.
Yeah, into the satellite that shoots across town. That's not how satellites work.
Where the hell did he go?
Wouldn't he have gone to space? No, because they would have been receiving from that.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have just fed back into wherever their control unit is.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have gone in the air.
Yeah, he would have went inside instead of getting pushed away. He's like, I'm worldwide, bitches.
Nationwide.
Yeah. So he floats away and it's like, pew, like a Tron thing or something. So he's like, God dang it. Then they actually get down, and Jonathan apparently is in jail, right?
Yeah.
At this point. So they're like, oh, he got arrested for the copycat killings, but he was exonerated because somebody did the same exact killing.
And signed it.
And signed it to Jonathan because they were just seemingly watching TV. At home. So it wasn't late at night, it wasn't when everybody was asleep or anything like that. They were watching TV, and there he was. He went and killed another family, right?
Right.
So, Jonathan's like, you know what? I got this. I'm going to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? I'm a college kid.
I can science the fuck out of this.
Yes. I'm a college dude. I can figure this shit out, right? John Tesh is like, oh, that's kind of crazy on this entertainment tonight. So basically, Horace is in the television deal, and he's thinking, okay, well, I still got to get this freaking necklace,
Right.
It's the only thing that's going to be able to save me, right? So he, because he knows that the dude's back, Horace is doing more killings and everything like that. So doesn't he go out to the lake?
So this is weird because you think he does, but then he's at home asleep.
He does it in his dream.
Right. But as he goes out there, he dives 3 or 4, he swims out there like a champ, no problem, to the middle of the lake. He dives down 2 or 3 times. And then doesn't she appear?
She comes out of the water and floats towards him and shit
he's
like that.
I'm out.
Fuck.
And he swims his ass to the shore.
Yeah.
And then guess what? There she is.
There she is. And he wakes up.
And because he's like, you're dead. And she's like, no, I'm here.
Yeah, why can't I stay with you?
And then they're like, is this the part where they make out for a while?
They make out for a little while.
And then
they have a picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody kind of shows up, and Coach
everybody that's been dead.
Yeah.
Deaded.
Coach is like, Jonathan, you gotta go back. You gotta save us.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's there. All the other
old Ted Raimi.
Yeah,
young Ted Raimi.
Everybody's kind of walking in the woods at the park. You know what I mean? They're feeding the ducks too.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And so
10 things to do in whatever that town is when you're dead.
Yeah, in Maryville. So basically they tell him to go back, and he's like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I'll just stay here.
Yeah, screw this. Why do I gotta go back? Yeah, this shit sucks. My body's gonna be fine because it's on a waterbed.
Well, he even says, he goes, why would I want to live?
Yeah. This sucks. I want to be here with you. I'm like, no, whatever. So he wakes up, and of course where does he go?
I don't know. Before he goes anywhere, he realizes that necklace is in his hand, right?
Well, no, he's on the chair.
Oh, that's right.
He goes and he sells that chair again,
Doesn't he wake up with the necklace though?
Yeah, well, no, he's leaning on the chair and he's like, "Huh, there's something around my neck." What?
Oh, that's what it was.
And that's when Horace Pinker is actually the Barcalounger.
Yes.
And the famous line, "This Barcalounger's gonna kick your ass, kid."
My favorite is when the eyes just show up. I'm like, what?
It's Cherry from Pee-wee's Playhouse. You know what I mean? I was
absolutely.
like, "Oh my God, it's Cherry." That's what would really happen.
That's right.
Well, we know that Horace can imitate leather and the electronics on the inside, but he cannot substantiate the controls because he starts choking him and everything like that, right? But then he has to rip the controls off of his leg.
Right. I don't know.
What? Whatever. So of course, they're getting into their whole little fight, and then he ends up jumping into the television.
Horace does.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to get me, sucker." And he's like, "Please let this work."
And has his necklace in his hand.
Yeah. And he jumps.
The holy necklace of love.
Right. And he jumps through the TV. But that's when we get the Timothy Leary stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of around there
yeah.
too.
That's actually on the screen for a little bit. And then later on when they're going through all the TV stuff.
What does Timothy Leary keep saying? Check your perimeter.
Yeah.
Check your perimeter.
And that's when the Barcalounger attacks. Yeah.
Check your perimeter. What? It kind of reminded me of Michael Nesmith in Repo Man.
Yeah.
100%, I was like,
100%.
no way. Maybe because Timothy Leary did a lot of movies, right? Close to the end of his life, I think. It was weird. Like always cameoing. So yeah, he jumps in there, and of course, come on, it's time for a freaking montage.
Right now, you need a montage
with some heavy metal.
A little heavy metal, some war movies, and Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, nuclear. He's like, "Beaver, help me."
Beaver.
It's so funny.
And they're just talking about whatever, rolling up the window.
And they're even fighting in slow-mo.
Right.
On the nuclear channel.
Right.
And then they end up jumping out in the family's house on the big projection screen, right?
Yeah.
And they're fighting.
And that mom or whatever is just like, I've heard of, what does she say?
Audience participation
shows, but this is ridiculous.
Well, what's so funny is the father is like, "Where's the cheese whiz?" And she's like, "What?" And he's oblivious to the whole thing. In the background, he's like, "Where's the cheese whiz? It's in there somewhere. Where is the damn?" And then Horace beats the crap out of him, right? He's like, "No, get him."
And then they end up back in the televangelist area.
Yeah, because guess what? Jonathan grabs a controller.
That's right.
He grabs a remote, and of course the woman's like, "Hey, he's got our remote." And he jumps straight through, right?
Right.
So he's chilling, right? But didn't he already have the cops? Not the cops.
He had the
television station. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to make you a network anchor," Right. And this is,
and he also has Rhino, and the rest of the dudes going to take the power out.
What's really cool about those guys, coolest thing in the world, they all have black leather duster jackets.
What's cooler than that is the guy's like, it's locked.
Yeah, it's a felony.
Yeah. No, it's a lock. Pick it. And he just reaches in like he had some picks in his there the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that dude, like, he must have been an offensive lineman or something like that, right? And so, like, he on the back of his leather jacket has his name and his number on it.
Oh, did he?
And the rest of them all have freaking black leather jackets. Whenever going under the fence, I was like, did they all get those for like winning something? I mean, who went? Yeah. Who went to
Team Leather Duster Day?
Yeah. Who went to the leather shoppy? You know what I mean? What was that? There was some place in the mall that was all about leather jackets.
Oh, always. Yeah, there's always one of those in every mall.
You're like, I love the smell.
Leather, I believe is the name of it.
Leathers.
Leather.
Yeah, so he's like, "Man, it's locked." He's like, that's a felony. No, that's a lock. Pick it. That's a pretty good line. Yeah. So he ends up picking it, right? And of course it starts raining.
Right.
You know, and Jonathan's still
hard.
Yeah, because he's supposed to basically turn off the power at midnight.
Right.
I guess he's got to destroy it instead of just turning it off. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think if he takes out from the main source, it takes out the whole city's power. He won't have a place to jump from one place to another.
Right.
Is the idea.
There's probably a
He's
switch
trapped.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
to where
they found it.
They wouldn't have to destroy it. They'd just be like,
Later, guys.
Dunk. Power's off. We did it. So, of course, you know, they're going through the whole deal. And then all of a sudden, they end up back at Jonathan's parents' house.
Like the room.
Mm-hmm. So they're basically, they're in there and the dudes are like, holy shit, let's go. The news anchor and everything.
Like, turn the camera. Film this.
Yeah. Are you getting this? And they run out, right? Because Horace is like, "Arr, and I'm a beast."
I'm Horace.
Yeah. So of course he's about to kill him right where his mother and his little sister were killed.
Right.
You know, and Horace is kind of like, I'm
gonna do it slow.
Yeah, I was beaten real good when you shot me in the leg. So he's almost about to bring the hammer down, the horse hammer, and he pauses him
with the remote.
Wouldn't that pause him too?
I don't think it would work at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what. There's no science in this movie at all.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that would have no effect on him except for apparently somehow he's tied to TV demons. I don't know.
If Wes Craven wrote this, okay,
which he did,
he wrote a masterpiece in Nightmare on Elm Street 1.
Agreed.
Right? Straight up masterpiece of cinema, horror, whatever. He had to have been influenced or been like, maybe if I put this in here, it'll go through, but this is stupid. You know what I mean? He's like trying to get shit past. He's like, well, if he was part of the TV, he should be able to be controlled by a remote control. Ooh, that sounds so dumb that they'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, it really seems like he was just throwing shit out there.
Well, and again, they had to cut out a lot. I don't know what parts they cut out to make this a decent, you know.
I know what they cut out. It was logic.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure that was present through any of this movie. Like I said, the first 40 minutes, dude.
And then that second part, boom, it's something else.
So then he can rewind him and fast forward him, make him smash his head and stuff, which makes no sense at all.
Yeah, he can use the remote to throw him across the room.
And he physically moves his wrist and arm to do it somehow, like it was a Wii controller.
Right,
like
right.
20 years before there was ever a Wii.
Exactly. And he's like rewinding him and throwing him up against the wall, making him bounce up and
and
down
then
shit.
He tells him the dumb, like, supervillain monologue. Oh, at midnight, my guys are taking out the power, and you'll be trapped here forever.
Yeah. One of us will get through, and he puts his hand through the TV,
right.
The monitor.
And he's like, I think your watch stopped working.
Yeah. He's like, better check your watch, boy, because it's 3 minutes slow.
Right.
Like, how did he know? Maybe it was, it was part of that electricity time.
Electricity power.
Every time he went into something, he saw the power. I don't know what it was.
He automatically knows what time it is.
Yeah.
It's my secret power.
Yeah. Your watch is taking a licking, but it ain't ticking. I think that's what he said.
He did. It's 100% what he said.
He's like, uh-oh. And, of course, Rhino blows it. He's like, boom. And he's like, all right, we killed the power. And it's slowly going out, in different grids.
Rolling down,
Yeah, it's like, he's like, we did it, guys. They're like, yeah, leather.
And then he leathers. Leather.
Leather jacket. High five. Sweatshirt.
And then so they bust the TV, right?
Well, yeah. He because he gets unpaused.
Right.
And so then they get into another little scuffle.
Tussle, if you will.
Right. And he starts actually winning this time.
Yes.
Where he's actually beating up Horace. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Jonathan is winning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's had pretty sweet moves throughout this movie.
Yeah, he turned on the ass kicking jets at that point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he learned his moves. You know, he's like, I know everything you can do now. So he starts whooping him, and he knocks him onto the bed, and then Horace is like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he grabs the necklace and he puts it around the camera, and he's like, please work.
Oh, that's right. Because then Horace is jumping to get him.
Yeah.
And he jumps into the camera, and Horace's head goes into the TV, right? Was that part, or is that before then? Before he jumps?
I think that was before.
Because Horace definitely goes into the TV.
Yeah, that was before, because the only thing left is that camera that's hooked up to the television station. So
then he jumps through the camera.
Right. So he jumps through the camera, and you get to see the whole from the inside, and you're like, no way.
That's awesome.
He broke it, but yet he didn't break any other one.
Or himself.
Only this one.
Convenient.
Yes. So he basically he comes out at his house, right?
Yeah, this is where he just comes outside, and all the neighbors are like outside.
Well, he's at his house, right? The TV's on, because that's where he originally went through.
Right.
The TV's exploding, and Horace is on the inside of the airwaves,
right.
And the speakers are still working. That's a fucking hell of a console TV right there.
Those things were built to last the nuclear winter.
Well, they were built to last like 5 years, and they became a TV stand for the new TVs. You know what I mean? Because I think I knew like 3 people that owned one that actually worked. All the rest of them were
Those
TV
were
stands.
TVs that you would actually take to a TV repairman, though.
Right,
You
exactly.
could still fix those.
Yeah.
Not like one of our TVs go out now, you just throw it away and buy a new one.
Pretty much. Yeah. Because
unfortunately.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not how really we should work as a society, but
no,
I'm
not at
in
all.
charge of that.
Take it apart. You can use it.
Capitalism.
Yeah. You can use it for something. Yeah.
What the fuck for?
I don't know. Trash.
Right.
So yeah, he comes
Sled.
out. Yeah, everybody's like, "Look at all the stars! It's beautiful."
Because these people have been watching TV this whole movie. Like I said, right?
The cable guy.
That was Craven's deal.
Yeah, and the cable guy that shit.
cable guy
They
that.
fucking totally took 2 things, or cable guy took 2 things from this, and that was the whole fighting on the dish, and this one was the other one where Kyle Gass opens the book. It's like,
yeah. 100%.
Yes.
And there's all the stars, and then we see the heart of stars light up.
Oh yeah,
because of the pendant that he bought for Allison, who's dead. She made the stars light up for him,
and he's like, "Oh, it's beautiful." She's like, "Yes, it is." Wait a minute.
You could do a sequel to this that has nothing to do with Horace Pinker.
Right.
It's just this weird, this dude's just trying to get through life, and his dead girlfriend's just always like there.
But she makes him pull the shocker on everyone else.
And that's why it has Shocker too. One in the pink, two in the pink, one in the stink.
That would be a hell of a sequel. Shocker 2. Rhino's Revenge. He's all, this is crazy. We might as well have sex. My dad was a serial killer. Might as well have sex. But that was Shocker.
That was something. So when was the last time you had seen this before you watched it for this show?
Oh, like last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like 1990 for me.
Really?
Yeah, like maybe
Wow.
91.
This is in my rotation. It is for how horrible it is. I have it, so I can watch it whenever I want to, and then every once in a while I'm like, screw it. It's so bad.
It's not one that comes to mind where I'm like, oh, I should definitely sit down and watch Shocker. And like I said, it's kind of weird because like the first half of this movie, you're like, could be building up to something pretty cool. Like they kind of slowly uncover the that he's the father. You know what I mean? Like the pacing with that is very good, I thought.
And then
it just turns into some wackadoodle, like logic's thrown out the window kind of thing, which is weird. I don't know if they were rushed in the second half.
Well,
generally, you don't film a movie in order. You know,
no. But maybe Wes Craven writing this only literally had the first half that was really good and was like, fuck, I don't got a movie. Damn it, I need to get paid. Maybe if we do this.
What do you guys think?
I really think
That's probably it.
Yeah,
dude.
it had to have been a whole bunch of jokes.
For as solid as the first half of, I mean, it really does fall apart in the second half. As far as, I mean, now there's some cool special effects that are cool for the time.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, literally, like it fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
At the top, from the top of the Empire State Building, all the way down every floor.
Yeah. That Barca Lounger part was a little over the top.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if he could have controlled anything, wouldn't have been the electronics that were in it and not the actual Barca Lounger.
Yeah, and he kept shocking him, too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't killing him.
No.
And then, like, Jonathan, like, punched him one time, and it was like... So,
was
like,
that when he had but that was when he had the locket in his hand, right? Or the pendant in his hand.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it was like, and he's like, looks at his hand.
Whoa. I got the power. Should be an arm wrestler.
Got the glow, you know.
But it was just, you're right. That first half until the Rolling Stones mouth comes out.
Yeah,
like,
that's the part where you're like,
you got it.
And then from there, it just goes downhill.
I think it would have been better if they would have turned everybody into Muppets at that point.
It would have made more sense.
Yes. They would have made a shocker
Everybody would have
Muppet
just
movie.
been marionettes.
Yes. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there needs to be more Muppet horror movies.
Well, I think there's a reason that this didn't take off like the horror franchise they thought it was going to, because it wasn't very good.
Dude, there's a million...
but I remember loving this movie. Like, I watched it a lot when it came out, like probably for a couple years there. Like, I was... especially at that time, huge into any horror movies I could get my hands on. I wasn't very taste-driven, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the quality of film was not important to me. I was watching like Castle Freak and, blood-sucking freaks.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this movie might really technically be for mall ninjas.
Okay.
Like, you know what a mall ninja is, right?
I don't know that I know what you're saying.
Okay. The mall ninja is like, how do I put this in the right way? It's like us, right?
Okay.
But live in the basement with mom, carry keys on their hips.
Okay.
No chain wallet, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Nice fedora.
Oh, a fedora.
Sunglasses, and they love swords.
Are they also preppers by chance?
No. So mall ninja is a thing, because they're into horror and sci-fi and all that stuff like that. So they're more Star Trek than they are, Freddy Krueger. Yeah. I'm gonna look it up. But I think this movie was really made for what became mall ninjas.
Okay.
Everybody out there, look it up.
Here's what I think. I think we should start a hashtag. Release the Craven cut. Yeah, how will we do that? Hashtag shocker, release the Craven cut. I would like to see the rated X version of this. Like not the one that they had to turn in, like the 13 times filtered it down. The original, to see if it was any better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe there's pieces in there
that would have tied everything together.
Right.
Would have made sense.
I'm hoping. Probably not, because I think really they just had to cut back on a lot of the gore and stuff.
Right. Okay.
It was the 80s.
Yeah. I think that would be something valid, the Craven cut.
Yeah.
Something.
Hashtag release the Craven cut.
Right.
Shocker, 1989. Suck it, bitches.
Shocker, Craven cut.
Mm-hmm.
Please. Then they'll release it in Spain or something like that. I'm like, what? So the definition of a mall ninja is a term used in forums to mean an unexperienced and enthusiastic weapon, usually a firearm owner, who pretends to be a seasoned operator.
Oh, okay.
The phrase came about as a result of an over-the-top character in a famous satirical thread. I am a part-time mall ninja, and I am currently receiving the escalator assault training. What?
Okay. So I get the kind of person you're talking about, though. I've met plenty of those people in my life, you know. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I think you were kind of right and hitting the nail right on the head with he had a really great storyline, but no ending, I don't even know that he knew where he was going with it at some point, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it was like, what if he had remote control?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, how are you going to turn an very simple serial killer movie, which you could have had an hour and a half of them really going after him,
sure,
instead of in that first hour just basically summing everything up,
right?
But how are you going to bring that supernatural part to it to have it continue? You know?
Well, I mean, here's what I think. I think that he had a story idea, and he worked real hard on this first part of it, and he's like, or maybe he just had an idea for a movie for a serial killer. I don't know. I still think that was just the first part of it. Yeah. And then, okay, so we'll have him get electrocuted. He can do this, whatever. But it was just an idea past that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no, this is where, because you could do that in a pitch pretty easy. You could really sell that first part.
Oh, of course.
And then be like, and then this is what happens.
Then he gets electrocuted and he still lives.
Yeah. And
how does that happen?
He can travel from body to body and then eventually through electricity. And he can, go. And if you're pitching that, sounds great.
Right.
Maybe.
Honestly, if they would have just left it at that and, kind of explained a little bit more of, okay. So I'm like Joe Pesci right now. So that first 50 minutes, you split it into 2 hours, right?
Okay.
You really couldn't. But if you spread it out, there's certain spots to where you could have added more in-depthness to it.
Oh, 100%. Like you could have
more flesh.
Yeah. Well, not only just flesh it out, but even work in part of the stuff where he's worshiping the devil and making these deals and
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Working
yeah.
in that occult portion.
Yeah.
Because it's really just little piece, like the tiniest piece. You get the hanging cats.
Yeah.
In that one place. And then you get the stuff in the prison.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
so you could have really worked that in the backstory of all that.
That could have been that could have been really a good pillar for it, because they could have shown him doing that kind of stuff at the beginning,
right?
And then whenever they busted him, at the place, they could have shown a little bit more into it and been like, damn, he's into some crazy shit,
Right.
Maybe had a little bit about that, how they were trying to track him through that stuff or something like that, trying to catch him, make his next moves, but yet the whole time he's actually trying to make a deal with the electric devil,
And hopefully it's not the electric devil, but, and that's right. And I think if you would have done that correctly, then the part where they come in and they catch him and interrupt like his big final, gonna make this deal. And that's like a piece. He's about there.
Right.
And they fuck it all up. Now, how you get a last wish of having a TV and some jumper cables in your thing?
Yeah, maybe they could have.
It was just too convenient of stuff, what I mean?
Well, see, maybe he could have been doing that at his television repair place when they busted him, right?
That's what I was saying.
So they catch him in the same deal. He's kind of all messed up. He's about to get electrocuted, but he's already made that deal in there.
Okay.
No, Rolling Stone's lip comes out or anything.
Dude, that was so bad. And that was so terrible.
Yeah, so yeah, at that point he could be like, you know what? Let's extend out his stay. You got to have Jonathan and everybody kind of research what he was doing, trying to figure out what he was doing before he went in there. And then, yeah, they get to the part where it's electrocuting him, and they're like, don't do it because this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And, of course, he disappears into the electricity and starts killing people the same way.
Right.
So they got to figure out a way to stop him or contain him in the real world whenever he comes out.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, hey, let's make you a bomber pilot. Yeah, dropping bombs on Vietnam. That's weird.
My kind of place.
Jonathan! They really could have drawn it out a lot more and made it a little bit more. But maybe that's why Craven did it the way he did it. He was like, let's wrap it up in the first 15 minutes for the first 2 acts. And then the third act is basically going to be fucking batshit crazy.
People love batshit crazy.
I guess.
Late 80s. So, I don't know, man. What do you think? Final thoughts, my friend.
Well, I give it 2 Sally Struthers, mail-in certificates for TV repair.
Fair.
Out of 5.
That's
you know what I mean? TV VCR repair.
5, okay.
Yeah, 2 out of 5. VCR repair, Sally Struthers courses.
Fair.
Learn from home.
Fair.
I'm
going to give it 2 separate scores. First half of the movie, I'm going to give 3.5 rhinos.
Okay.
The second half of the movie, I'm going to give it 2 rhinos. Maybe 1.5. Ouch. It does go downhill in that second half. But again, I think like as we've spoken about, you could really. I don't want to redo this movie, but I'm saying if you had the opportunity and that was what you were given, you could make a much better film out of it.
Big time.
Focusing more on that first half.
Yes.
Like we said, working
certainly
back.
Yeah, big time.
And you could probably get this movie up to maybe a 3.5, 4 across the board.
Yeah.
You'd never get it to a 5 just based off premise.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be done correctly.
I think, honestly, if you cut out the whole running through the park bit completely, don't need that shit.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
Yeah, unnecessary. That's a good, 20 minutes? Right? 10, 15 minutes out of the whole movie that could be gone. Yeah, and just kind of fleshed it out a little bit more, that first part, and kind of made it, because maybe he was like, you know what, I wanted to do this with, Nightmare on Elm Street, but I needed to draw it out.
Right.
Or he was like, holy shit, I don't have a movie. This is the closest thing I got to that. Let's just give him some crap.
Right.
So
my other thing with Wes Craven is I really don't understand what his infatuation is with waterbeds. I mean, he's older than us by a long shot, so maybe that was like a new thing to him when he was young, and he got infatuated.
Waterbeds are cool.
Apparently.
Yeah, they're cool, man. I guess.
They're cool in 1989.
I had one all the way up until 94, 95, yeah. Okay. But it didn't have like a base on it. It was just on the floor.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, with the outline of it, but
yeah, I had a waterbed like in my early 20s. I don't remember how I ended up with a water. Like I didn't buy it brand new or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like one of my first apartments or something.
Always secondhand.
And that was like some king size waterbed that took up the whole damn bedroom. You know what I mean?
It took like 2 days for it to freaking fill up.
And I remember I broke up with my girlfriend, and like she threw the ring that I gave her. She was pissed about something, like on the coffee table. It bounced once. I caught it, and I was like, cool. And I put it in my pocket.
Like,
and I was like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, later.
And then I had to come back, and I had to take that water bed out. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I just grabbed a knife, and I was like, it was great. And I threw all that shit away.
Damn.
Moving on.
The rails and everything. Well, you know what? We've talked everybody's ear off.
Yeah, we have.
For almost 2 hours.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is about a 2-hour movie, so that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was worth it. All 2 hours of it. So, everybody, if you like what you hear, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe.
Yeah, and let us know what you think about Shocker from 1989, or Wes Craven's Shocker, as it's sometimes known.
Right, and all you mall ninjas out there, tell us what you feel about it.
That's right.
Bring it on home. I want to see those samurai comments.
Ninjas and samurai are like opposite.
I know.
Oh,
But,
whoa.
they could be the same with mall ninjas.
Oh, they could be mall samurais?
Yes.
Mall shogun?
Mall shogun. Like, we ain't got no knife store to go to.
I'm the boss.
I'm a Ronin.
I have no master.
But if you go to dropculture.com, Twitter, Facebook, everything, hit us up on any of those socials. And we still have that challenge out there for you guys.
That's right. What is that challenge?
That's find a movie that is a drop culture movie that was a good, decent, somewhat.
Some has some value.
Yeah. Has some merit.
Yeah.
To you, to your group of friends that you grew up with, something like that.
Right.
Just try to stump us.
Give us a movie we don't know anything about. That would be awesome.
Right. Because, and just don't mention Arena. I'm gonna
Brock's favorite movie.
I'm going to make that joke every time.
Until we do that movie.
Right. Next week.
Oh, no, sir. It's Halloween time. We'll not be doing Arena this month. And it won't be next month either.
Maybe next year.
Because it can't be during Space Giving.
Nope. That's coming up too. Space Giving. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Yeah, it's like I sew too much. Here's my compression gloves because you sew too much.
I thought you were like dressing up as one of those guys that stands around a trash can.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, man,
give me some fingerless gloves.
Hey, can you spare a former altar boy a little bit of money for ninjas?
Nice coat.
Oh, not very nice. Hey, just need some nitrate. Well, I just need beer, man. That'll be cool. Okay, I'll shut up.
Oh, you're good.